We're going to start on page 133 in your grammar book. 133. We're talking about numbers today. Look how short this page is. This is nice. I always like it when the grammar is short. We can do this. Numbers. We all know numbers. So it says spell out numbers that can be expressed in 1 or 2 words. This is kind of a rule that we need to remember whenever you're writing a story or when you're working in this book. If the numbers are only 1 word or 2 words, you're going to write out the words. Okay. Like it says here, 12. 12 is just 1 word. So instead of writing 1, 2, you're going to write out 12. Okay. Write out the word. And then 100, that's 2 words, 1 and 100. Rather than writing it out as a number, you're going to use words. That is the proper way of writing. So here it says use a hyphen with numbers from 21 to 99. So see how they have 20-1 and then 90-9. So that basically means everything between. So 21, 22, 23, you get the idea. So you're going to use a dash between those. And then it says, or a hyphen. Basically, a hyphen is the same thing as a dash. Spell out ordinal numbers like first and second. So all of those are like first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, basically like the grade you're in, or, if you're talking about somebody in line, what position are they in? Are they third person in line or whatever? You're going to spell out those words rather than like for first, how you can do a 1 and then an ST. That's another way to write first. But when you're writing a story or a report, you need to spell out those words. It says ordinal numbers tell the order or position in a sequence. So in this book, it's pretty easy. It says all you're going to do is place a line through the incorrect number and write the correct number, the correct word above it. So here you have the second soldier ate 3 of the 25 apples. 3 apples. I can't even imagine eating more than 1 apple. 3? You guys ever had 3 at one time before? That's a lot. Apples are filling. Anyway, it says 2 ND for second. That's one way to write it. But when the proper way, when you're writing, is to spell out second, SECOND. So you can see how they just drew a line through that, spelled it above it. Same here for the number 3. It's just 1 word. So you spell it out on top of that. And then, of course, 25 has that little dash right there between the 2 words, 20-5. Okay, so if you have something like a date, like, we were talking about Marco Polo, and his date was like 1275 or something like that. For a date, you want to use numbers. I don't want you to write out like 1,275 because that's way too many words, right? So just keep that in mind. If it's 1 or 2 words, write it out. If it's more than that, if it's a big number or a date, then you use the actual number. You guys have any questions about numbers? No? Pretty easy. Okay. Let's see. Nisaya, could you read our sentence today, please?
The dwarf told him, "You must go to the princess and get her to consume 9 or 10 apples."
It's a weird sentence. But this is when, remember something happens to, is it her nose that grows? Is it the princess's nose? I'm trying to remember how the story goes. I think that's what happened. It's called the nose tree. What happened before this? Or maybe that hasn't. It's the soldier. Remember the soldier's nose got so big and And then I think he ate apples, right? And then you guys remember the story? I'm trying to remember how it goes. Or pears. It was a pear. And then his nose returned to a normal size. But now I think something's going to happen to the princess. No, the princess has the apples. I don't know. By the way, in case you are interested, at the end of this book, at the very, very end, it has the whole story written out. Did you guys see that? If you ever wanted to see like the whole story all together, I just forgot how it goes. But anyway, back to this. It's a weird story, but kind of fun. The word is consume. We already know that because we have that on our list of words in place of eat, which is a banned word, right? So basically consume means to eat. We know that. So put a check mark there. There are 2 articles, so go ahead and find those and label those by yourself. And then Camila, where are the nouns?
Princess apples.
Good. Dwarf, princess, apples. And then how about the pronouns, Nisaya?
Him, her, and you.
Him, her, and you. Yes, very good. Him, and then you, and then her. Those are the pronouns. How about Camila, back to adjectives there. Where are the adjectives? And in this sentence, if you need a clue, it's going to tell how many. So if you look at apples, it's going to tell how many is your adjectives, are your adjectives.
9 and 10.
Yes, but we just learned a new rule about those, right? So what do we need to do?
Put the correct spelling above it.
Yeah, okay, so let's start with 9. Do you know how to spell 9?
Ninth.
You're thinking ninth, but it's just going to be NINE for 9. Does that make
Okay.
sense? Yeah. You were thinking ninth. And then 10, how do we spell 10?
TEN.
That's an easy one, huh? TEN, and we're going to label both of those adjectives because they both tell how many apples. We can put a check by this one here, the 2 numbers, because we got that too, and the adjectives. All right, coordinating conjunctions, Nisaya?
And.
Good.
And. Fan and.
Fanboys. Remember
Yeah.
for and nor, but, or yet, so. Which one is it?
And an or.
Yes, and or. Good job. Just squeeze that in there. Good job. I'll come back to prepositional phrases, but Camila, can you do verbs next? Action or helping or linking verbs? You there, Camila?
Yeah.
So what are the verbs, like action or helping or linking verbs? Remember, those are the what they're doing.
Hold and consume.
Hold and, okay, so consume is one of those tricky ones because it has that word to next to it. So since it says to consume, we're not going to label that as a verb. It's actually called an infinitive. Remember how I told you guys that before? If it ever has to next to it, So we're not going to label that one a verb, but there's more. What else do you see?
Must.
Yes, good. That's a helping verb. Must what?
Go.
There you go. That's a verb. And then there's another one. What is he telling? You must go to the princess and what?
Get.
There you go. Get is also a verb. Okay, so Nasaya, who are the subjects here? So we've got who told him.
Dwarf.
The dwarf is a subject there. And then inside of what he says also has a,
You.
yes, good. Okay, those two are it. So sometimes I wanted to point that out. See how it says two right there, two subject verb pairs. It's always going to be whatever number is there is going to be the subjects. But there's oftentimes more verbs there. So there's only two subjects, but like in this case, we have a lot of verbs. So don't let that two fool you. Look for all the verbs. There's more than two, but there's always that number of subjects, okay? And then the prepositional phrase, Camila, do you see that? It's not going to be to consume. I'll give you that clue because that's an infinitive. And I probably need to give you a clue. Oh, did you find it? So this word to is wrong, huh? Because it shouldn't be a number. You must go to the princess. So let's fix that, Camila. How do we spell this to?
T-O.
There you go. So now that we have that one, that's going to be your preposition. So what's the prepositional phrase?
To the princess.
Yes, good. To the princess. The reason why to consume is not a prepositional phrase is because consume by itself is a verb. So prepositional phrases don't ever have verbs, right? They just have the preposition and it goes to the next noun. So to go to the princess is your prepositional phrase, but not to consume. Capitals, Nasaya?
The Y and U and the T and the.
Good. End mark is just going to be a period. Did you guys notice, by the way, we fixed the homophone, that was two. Did you notice this note here that says no closing quotation mark because quote continues? That just means like on the next page, when you go to do your homework, he's not done talking. He started talking here, you must go blah, 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 blah. But he's still talking, so we're not going to put an end quote right here. It's just going to keep going. Does that make sense to you guys? Okay. Any questions about this page? Okay. No? Okay, good. Let's get out our binders next. You guys finished up Marco Polo this week for your homework. And so we are going to move on, and this is going to be a brand new unit. I'm kind of excited. I hope you like this next unit. It's going to be different. Do you guys know the difference? I'm sure you do, but the difference between like academic writing and then creative writing? So academic writing is like the Marco Polo report that you did. And that one, you know, you learned about a real person and you wrote down facts. Well, creative writing is when you make up stuff. You get to make up your own stories. There's a lot more freedom in that. So what I want you guys to do, I don't know where you keep your finished compositions, if you put it back in the same binder or a different binder. Hopefully your binder's not too full. But go ahead and put away Marco Polo, because we're done with that one. Wherever you keep your finished stuff. And then once you put away Marco Polo, you're going to get out right here. Remember this tab is the source text tab. The next week is called Camel Intent. It's a weird title, but you'll understand why. Camel Intent. It starts on page 105, and you're going to get out 1, 2, 3, 4 pages until you see week 14. Close up your rings. You also need a piece of lined paper. And of course, a pen or a pencil, something like that. And then give me a thumbs up when you're ready. So week 13, camel intent, and then a lined piece of paper. Got it? Okay, good. Camila, you ready? Sorry, you're probably trying to finish your breakfast, huh? You can give me an emoji thumbs up or something. Okay, I bet she's ready. I'm going to keep going. We're going to start on the lined piece of paper, okay? Because I'm going to talk to you for a minute about the new unit. This is unit 5. So unit 4 was all about writing a summary, like summarizing a reference. And it's academic writing. We were writing reports, but now we're moving into more creative writing. Go ahead and put your name here where we always put it. Today's date is 3/15/24. And then in the middle of this, skip a line, and then we're going to just put unit 5 here. And then right underneath that, we're going to put, I'm going to call this writing with a capital W, writing, and then from is lowercase, and then pictures is capital. So we're going to actually use pictures to create a story, a made up story. So completely shifting gears here. So, you know, when we did academic writing, we had actual articles and facts like Marco Polo, when he was born, where he was raised, how he traveled to China. All that stuff was real stuff, right? That's academic writing. This stuff is silly, made up, fun stuff. So you can actually get really creative with this. You're probably, I don't know how you guys feel about that. It's funny how our brains, like for me personally, it's easier for me to write academically with facts and information and stuff. And sometimes I really struggle with being creative. Do you guys ever feel that way? Or do you like to just make up fun stories? What do you think, Nasaya? Do you like to make up like your own story about, I don't know, random things? Or do you like to write academic reports and stuff?
Sometimes like to
Yeah.
imagine things.
Okay. Yeah, you imagine things. That's right. That's what it is. How about you, Camila? Do you like to make up stories? Or do you like to write reports? Or both, maybe. I don't know.
Both.
Yeah, okay, good. Well, you guys will be fine with this then, I think. So you're going to see something. I'm going to have you skip a line over here on the side. I want you to write these words: central fact, and then put a colon like that. Central fact. You're going to see that on this paper that we're going to look at in a minute. This is probably new for you. You know the word central. It comes from the word center. So if you think of like a circle in the middle of the circle, but when you're thinking about information, it's like the core. It's like the center, the most important information, right? And then we know fact. Those are what we've been doing with the keyword outlines. We're putting facts in there. But this fact is something that you make up. It's not a real fact. but it's like a made up fact that you're creating. But the central fact means what is really happening in the picture, or what is literally, that word literally means exactly like what you see in the picture. So you can put a question here. What is literally happening in the picture? I'm going to just put that question word right there. What is literally happening in the picture? So like I said, we're going to use a set of pictures. There's going to be 3. It's going to be the beginning, middle, and end of your story. But the first thing you need to determine is, what do you actually see in the picture? What is really, actually, literally happening? You're going to start with that. And then from there is where we create the details. Now, when I say create, I mean from our own brains. So skip a line here and let's put that word details next, and then a colon. And I want to ask you a question. And to be fair, this question is a hard question to answer, but I want to see if you can try. I want to ask you, how do you think? Can you explain the process of thinking? How do you think? I mean, you're doing it right now. How can you explain that? It's a tricky question. Boy, you guys are really thinking. I can see you like, oh, how do I explain that? Because a lot of times it's like, well, it just happens, right? It's true. It just happens. Anybody want to try to explain how we think? Nothing's happening. No, she's like, no. So, okay. And I told you it was going to be a hard question, and it is really hard to answer, but it's so cool. You know, our brains are so awesome as far as detailed and complicated and complex. And I mean, our brains do so much all by itself inside our head. Because really, when we think, you don't hear anything on the outside, because, you know, right now I'm talking, but when I'm thinking, you can think all day long and not say a word, right? A lot of stuff happens inside. It's the coolest thing. But when we think, what we're doing is asking ourselves questions. So if anybody asks you, how do you think? Your answer is by asking myself questions. And the cool thing about that is you don't even really know that's happening. It's just naturally happening. For instance, and I know Camila just ate breakfast, but if you didn't have breakfast and your stomach starts growling, you're going to start thinking, what can I eat after class? Or ask yourself, what is in the refrigerator that's left over from dinner last night? Is there any pizza left? Maybe I can have a piece of pizza. Right? So it happens without you even really knowing it's going on inside your head. All of a sudden you're just thinking, man, I'm hungry. Pizza sounds good. But you start asking yourself, what do I have in the refrigerator? How much pizza is left from last night? So you're thinking things like that. Or if you are at the park with your friends and all of a sudden you see this cute little dog running across, coming over to say hi to you, you might start automatically thinking in your head, first of all, you'll say, oh my gosh, this dog is so cute. And then you might start asking, whose dog is it? Where did it come from? How did it get here? And does it have a collar and maybe a dog tag so you can see if it belongs to someone? Those things are happening inside your head all by yourself without even really you trying. So That's what you do. You ask yourself questions. If you ever see anything or hear anything that's new to you or different or whatever, you're going to start asking those kinds of questions. So there's 6 question words. They're called the big 6. Do you guys know what those words are that start the sentence of a question? Remember those words? Question words. You remember, Nasaya?
Who,
Yes.
how, what, where.
I like to put them in a certain order, but you are definitely on the right track. So when is one?
Oh yeah. When, where, how. Oh, why.
Yep, there you go.
There we go.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Who, what, when, where, why, how. And I like to put them in that order. I don't know why. That's how I learned the order. Who, what, when, where, why, how. But you had it, Nasaya. You were getting there. And then right next to that, I just want you to draw a giant question mark. Kind of fun. Those are the big 6. That's what we call them, the big 6. They're the question words. That's in English, those are the words we use when we start a question sentence. Like about the dog situation I told you. So whose dog is it? Where did it come from? Why is it here? How did it get here? When did it get here? So those are all questions that happen inside your head when you're thinking. Now there's a few more you're going to use when you're looking at these pictures. So I want you to kind of draw a line here under how, like that, because there's more questions when you're looking at pictures that you're going to ask yourself, and write these down and then I'll explain what they are. So before and then after and outside and the word invisible. And then we'll do another question mark next to those, like that. Before, after, outside, invisible. And now those are not words we would start a question sentence with, but these are questions you're going to ask about these pictures, like what happened before this picture? What happened after this picture? And this is where you're going to make up stuff, okay? Outside meaning what is happening outside the frame of the picture. I don't mean like outside as in outdoors. I mean like when you're looking at a picture, there's always a box around it. So you can imagine what's happening outside of the frame of the picture. And then invisible, maybe there's something happening, but that you don't see it in the picture. Like maybe there's a big crowd of people there, but in the picture you don't see them, but you can make that up, right? You can imagine that there might be a big crowd of people. There's another few questions I want you to put down. So go ahead and put a line under invisible. And then there's 3 more. It's think, say, do. And then we're going to do another question mark next to those. And this one is about the characters in the pictures. They might be animals or people. What are they thinking? What are they saying? What are they doing? Now, this is going to help you create stories. If you go through this list of questions and ask yourself as you're looking at these pictures, this will help you come up with a story. Okay, now let's go to the pictures. We've been talking about it for a while. This is going to be on page 107. So go to page 107. And you'll see 3 pictures. This represents beginning, middle, and end. It goes in order, and you can take a minute and look at those and what's happening in those pictures. We're going to talk about that. And then we're going to try to create a story with it. Notice they were nice to you guys. They actually put the keyword outline on this page, so you don't have to write it on a lined piece of paper. It's already ready to go. See how it has Roman numeral 1, Roman numeral 2, and Roman numeral 3, that's for paragraph 1, paragraph 2, and paragraph 3. You're going to write a 3-paragraph story using these pictures. Okay, so let's start brainstorming together. And we're just going to start with just that top picture. It's okay if you look ahead, you know, to see what eventually happens here. But this top picture is where we're going to focus for this Roman numeral 1 of your outline up here. And notice you'll see central fact. We talked about that in your notes a minute ago on your lined paper. Who can tell me what the central fact, what does that mean, central fact? What did we write in our notes?
What is literally happening in this picture?
Good. Okay, good. So look at this picture. What do we literally see? What kinds of things do you see in this picture? So Camila, how about you start? What do you see literally in the picture?
A man in the tent and a camel's head peeking through the tent.
Good. Okay, so we've got, let's start with camel, comma, tent, comma, and then we've got a man, but I put a line there because this is where you're going to start being creative and think of a name for this guy. Eventually you can name the camel too, but for now we're just going to call it a camel. And then what's this guy's name? You can create any name, come up with any name you want. It could be Bob, Joe, Jeffrey, I don't know. You guys have an idea of a name? You have a name, Camila?
Leo.
Leo, I like it. How about you, Nisaya?
Bernard.
Bernard. Okay, so Camila, you'll put Leo here. And then Nisaya, you'll put Bernard. I always love the names you guys come up with. It's fun. Okay, now this is where we're going to start putting the details. And remember in our note page right here, this is how we come up with the details, right? We start asking these questions. And by the way, they don't have to be in a certain order. You can mix up these questions to create this story. So, so let's start by asking ourselves, why did the camel stick his head in the tent? And it could be for any reason at all. So let's brainstorm for a minute. Why is the camel doing that? Anybody have any ideas?
He was curious.
Okay, he was curious. That's a good one. What do you think, Nisaya?
He was hungry.
Ooh, he was hungry. He's like, hey, do you have a snack in here? That's a good one. Maybe it's hot outside, you know, or cold, and he's just wanting to get inside the tent. Okay, so this is where, Camila, your outline is going to look different than Nisaya's. So this is where I want you to think. You both answered why he's sticking his head in the tent. So Camila, you would say, and you can name the camel too. It could be a boy camel, a girl camel, whatever camel you want it to be. Think of a name. You can put the name here. And then you said he was hungry. No, that Nisaya said hungry. You said he was curious, or she. Curious. And maybe he wanted to look inside. So that's how Camila's would look. But Nisaya, you would put the name of your camel and then hungry or snack or something like that. You get the idea? You guys are doing your own story here. Okay. Okay. And then how do you think and this is where I'm going back to this list. Now I'm moving on to how did he get his nose in there? How did he push his nose in there? Do you think he ripped the tent? Do you think he found an opening in the tent? Camila?
There was an opening in the corner.
Opening in the corner. Maybe the maybe the camel was supposed to be tied up at a tree outside, and maybe the camel untied the knot somehow. Maybe he was just like biting on it. He untied the knot and he's like, I'm gonna go see what's over here. Okay, this is where you can think, how did he get there? Do you have any ideas, Nisaya?
Yeah, the camel stepped on the rope and it accidentally untied.
Ooh, that's a good one. Okay. So, and then you can put what you want to put too, Camila. I'm going to go with Nisaya's this time. So, stepped, rope, untied. But you said something about found, you could put found opening corner or something like that, Camila, for yours. Okay. So you guys are making it your own. This is still an outline. So you're using keywords to help you here. Basically, you're just taking down some notes so that when you go to write the paragraph, you have something to go off of, right? Let's look at the guy now, and Bernard or Leo. And what do you think he's thinking? Okay, this is one of our question words down here, think. So what do you think he's thinking? Any ideas?
Where did this camel come from?
Like what? Why? Where did this camel come from? That's a good one. How about you, Nisaya? What is he thinking?
Oh, hello, good friend.
And that's cute. Put that. Hello, good friend. You can put that on yours. And then Camila, you could put like, where did you come from? Like where come from, or however you want to put it on your outline. Okay, this is where it's fun. You can kind of come up with your own plot here. Okay, so you've got, I'll put where come from. We're on number 4 now. What does the guy do? What does he do now? What do you think? So he's got his, camel's got his head in there. What do you think he's going to do next? I mean, I know you know the next picture, but before that part, what do you think he's going to do before the camel comes in? Like give him, maybe he's going to give him some nuts or some fruit that he has for his snack, or what do you think, Nisaya?
Some water and food and pets the camel.
He pets the camel. I like that. Pets his nose, maybe. The camel's kind of cute. It looks like he or she is smiling. And maybe it's a girl. There's eyelashes. I'll say it's a girl. She's cute. She's like, hi. So imagine her voice like, hi, can I come in? What do you think is going to happen, Camila? Like, what is he going to do before the camel comes in? What do you think he's going to do? The guy, Leo.
But before the camel comes in?
Yeah, before we get into this picture, you think he's going to pet her nose, or maybe try to push her back out, or give her a snack, or say, come on in, Matilda. That was the first name that came to my mind. What do you
Pet
think?
it and then greet it.
Say that again.
Gonna pet it and then greet it in.
And greet it in. Okay, so pet. So you can put like pet, nose, greet, or welcome, or something like that. Because obviously it's just her nose that's in there so far. Maybe the top of her head. Maybe he pets her head. Okay. And then number 5 right here, I'm just going to have you put parentheses around. I think we have a good start. So I don't even know if we need 5. We've got 4. So you have a good start with this paragraph. But if you think of something else you want to add there, You can do that. What an idea I had too. They don't look scared or anything, but maybe there's a big thunderstorm happening, outside. And maybe the guy is in there like, ooh, I don't want to be outside. And the camel's like, I don't want to be outside either. So that's another idea. By the way, this outline is just kind of a way to brainstorm, but really when you come down to writing your story, if you want to change it up, you can change it. This is just, you don't have to turn this part in. This is just to help you come up with some ideas. So really, if you want to go off of this and create your own story on the spot when you're writing or typing your paragraphs, that's okay with me. Does that make sense to you guys? So if you change your mind, that's okay. But for today, this is a good time to brainstorm. Okay. So looking at this one, Nisaya, let's go to the central fact. Remember, that's literally what's happening in the picture. So what do you see in this picture?
The camel sitting in the tent with Bernard.
Yes. Okay. So whatever you named your camel, and maybe sitting. And then maybe, and then the name Bernard, or you can put inside and then B for Bernard or something like that, whatever helps you know. He's laying, you could say laying inside too. He can't even sit up because he's just too big. So Camila, what is the guy doing now?
He's scooting from the camel because the camel's too big in there.
Yes, he's like, whoa. Maybe we could put whoa. And then scooting, I like that, scooting back. And then whatever you think, Nisaya, you don't have to copy the same one, but you can put what you think is going on there. So the guy, what does he look like? What does he look like in that picture, Nisaya? What do you think he's thinking?
Oh my goodness, she's so big.
Oh, goodness. Big. And then you can put whatever you want to put there, Camila, okay? How does the camel feel, Camila?
Wait, are you talking about me?
Yeah, how does the camel feel in this one? What do you think the camel's thinking? You can look at her face. She's like, ah, it's so nice in here.
Yep.
Maybe comfortable. So whatever your camel's name is, comfortable, happy, warm, whatever you want to put in there. If it's cold outside, the camel's like, ah, it's warm in here. So however you want to put that one in there. Here's a good one for you. Have you guys ever really seen a real camel before or touched a real camel? No? Nasiah's thinking. They're at the fair sometimes, like the Kern County Fair. Sometimes they have like camel rides there. But anyway, if you don't know, camels are pretty stinky. Like, you can imagine like a farm animal, like a cow or a pig or goat or whatever. Farm animals are pretty stinky. So what do you think? What do you think it smells like in there right now? It's kind of like having a camel come into your bedroom. What do you think, Nisaya? What do you think it smells like in there?
Manure.
Yeah. You can say like stink, maybe manure. Fix that. Strong. Yeah, so the guy is like, ooh, I don't know if I want you in here. Okay, and then one more question. What is the guy trying to do? Look where his hand is. What do you think he's trying to do there, Camila?
Pet it.
Pet it? Okay, what do you think, Nisaya? What is he trying to do?
Keep her from coming in anymore.
Maybe like push her out, right? Push blank out. That's gonna be the camel. Like, I love you and all, but you smell. So time to get out. Okay, we got one more picture. Poor guy. Poor Bernard. Poor Leo. Okay, Camila, once you write that down now, what is literally happening in this picture right here? What do you see? Literally.
The camel kicked him out.
The camel kicked him out. Yes. Okay, I'm just gonna put kicked out and then Leo or Bernard. We could put the C for camel, maybe. C kicked out. Leo or Bernard. So what do you think happened between, I'm going to ask Nisaya this one. What do you think happened between these two? Because we don't really know. The space right here is kind of like, how did he get kicked out? Did he literally kick him out, or did he, I don't know. What do you think, Nisaya? How did he get out?
She was taking up so much space, he couldn't push her back, and then he just decided to leave because of it.
Oh, okay, so he decided to leave. Okay. That's a good one. What do you think, Camila? Maybe the camel was too big, too heavy, too strong.
It was so big he couldn't fit in there.
Yeah, he just literally got pushed out. Okay. Maybe they got in a fight. I don't know. Do we want it to take a turn like that? Because it could be, that all of a sudden he's pushing back. She looks so nice though. It's hard to imagine them fighting because she's just like, hi, just kind of nice and mellow. But maybe she turned on him. It was like, I want to have this tent. I need you to get out right now. Maybe something like that happened. She's like kung fu all of a sudden or something, all of a sudden she knows these karate moves and she's like, hiya. I mean, really, you could make up stuff like that if you wanted to. So, all right. So you decide what you want to put, what happened in between here. I'm gonna let you do that one by yourself. And if you change your mind, like I said, when you go to write the paragraph, you can totally make this like a super silly, crazy story too. It doesn't have to be something that could really happen. It could be that maybe it's a robot camel. Have you ever thought of that? Maybe somebody's controlling the camel from outside the tent. That's something you can think of, because we don't see anything happening. We don't see anything in the background. Remember that word invisible on your list here? We had the word invisible. So that could be something. Maybe there's like this guy's brother or somebody who just bought this mechanical camel and he's got a little remote control back there. And he's like, hee, I'm going to kick my brother out of this tent. I don't know. I'm just making up stuff. All right. Let's ask a few more questions here. Why do you think he's holding his head like that? Why is Bernard or Leo holding his head. What do you think, Camila?
What just happened?
Yeah, he's like in a daze, like, whoa, what just happened? What do you think, Nisaya?
My head hurts.
My head hurts. There you go. Maybe he got kicked in the head by accident or something. The kung fu kick. Ha-cha. Okay, and then so he's probably got a headache maybe right now. And he looks a little dazed, maybe a little dizzy. So how are we gonna wrap up this story? Let's brainstorm, and you can keep writing some notes in here. And these are just notes. Like I said, you can use these notes when you write your paragraph, or you can just completely make up your own. But remember, this is the most important thing to remember are these questions as you're creating this story. You're going to cycle through these questions like why and when and where did he come from and what does he want and what's happening in the background and the invisible. What is he thinking? What is he doing? This page will really help you come up with your story. But how are we going to end it? What do you guys think? You got a good ending for this? How's it going to end? Is it going to be a sad ending? Is it going to be like leave you hanging type ending, like you don't know what's going to happen next? Or is it a happy ending? Because you can think beyond this picture. Any ideas?
He lets her have the tent.
Ah, that's a happy ending. Well, for the camel, I guess. Not so much for the guy. Bernard. What do you think, Camila? How can we end this?
He builds a tent out of huge leaves for the camel and then gets his tent back.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that. So he creates a separate home. He's like, fine, I'll build you something that you can live in. That's a good one. What if, and I don't know, sometimes I have these random thoughts. You guys know me, but what if the camel stood up and the tent just like attached to him? Like, if you can imagine if he stood up in there, the tent would probably hang over him and then he starts running around with this tent on his head or something. I just had that vision in my head. All right, well, you get the idea. Hopefully you guys have fun with this. So you need to have at least 5 sentences in each of your paragraphs. You can have more though. If you need more sentences to explain what's going on, that's okay with me. You can have like 7 or 8 sentences in your paragraphs. That's fine. So the point is I want you to be able to get out the story, like explain the story of what's going on. So next, I want you to look at the checklist. Oh, there is one more thing to do. Hold on. Get this one out next. Page 109. Lucky for us, we have more banned words. Yay! We love banned words. Just kidding. No, we don't. Okay, these are going to be adjectives. Our other banned word list, remember that blue list, those were verbs like eat, ate, think, thought. Those are all verbs. Well, this one's adjectives. So this one's going to be a little bit different. So in that first box, I want you to write the word good. And then the next one over, I want you to put bad. So now those are new banned words for you. You cannot use good or bad because they're boring. That's why. So let's think about the word good. What's another word we can say instead of good?
Wonderful.
Wonderful. I love it. Wonderful. What else? You can just unmute if you think of something and just say it.
Fantastic.
Yes, that's a good one. Fantastic. Or awesome.
Amazing.
Amazing. Good one. Even the word great is a good one too. Fabulous. That's a fun word. I like that one. Fabulous. It was a fabulous day. And you can use these words in your story too. If you're talking about the day, like it was a fabulous day, or, you know, any of these other words. Any others you can think of? Fine is one. Like, you know how people ask you, how are you? And you say, I'm good. But instead of saying I'm good, you can say, I'm fine. Fine is good.
Nice.
Pretty good.
Nice. And you said pretty good? Yeah, except for you're using a banned word, good, when you say it. So we can't use that one. Let's move on to bad. I think it's a pretty good list, but you can always go to a thesaurus and look under at the word good in the thesaurus, and then it'll give you some other ideas if you want to pick something different. But let's move on to bad. What's another way to say bad? Maybe horrible?
Disgraceful.
Okay, disgraceful. Yeah. Does that have an E in it? I'm trying to remember. I think it does. Let me just double check. Spelling, you know, sometimes I forget how to spell stuff. Disgraceful. Yep, it does. Okay. Good one. What else? Terrible. What if you're eating something that you really don't like and it tastes bad? What's another way to say that? Tastes
Disgusting.
disgusting or nasty. Both of those are good. Disgusting, nasty. It's a pretty good start there. So we'll leave that. Like I said, if you need a different word than that, go to a thesaurus, look up bad. They're going to give you some other words to use too that you can use in place of that. Now let's look at your checklist, okay? Your checklist has something new on it. You have a new dress up. So you still have ly, who, which, strong verb, because clause, and now you have a new one, quality adjective. Good news is you know what adjectives are because you label those all the time in your grammar book. They are words that describe a noun or a pronoun. So you might need an adjective to describe the camel or the man or the tent or the day outside, a word to describe a noun. So you don't want to use good or bad. These are examples of quality adjectives here underneath those. But anytime you have a quality adjective, it's going to give the reader more of an image of what's going on. Okay, so like the sweaty camel. Sweaty is a great quality adjective because it gives you a visual, like wet or stinky, sweaty. So when you're writing your story, you're going to add one of these to each paragraph, a quality adjective, basically something that gives a good description of the noun or the pronoun. Everything else on your checklist is still the same. So don't forget topic clinchers. You're still using those even in this story. And then you get to give your story a new title. Remember, the title rule repeats 1 to 3 key words from the final sentence. Okay. So your homework is to write your story. You can use our ideas from today, or you can just create your own about what this is the first paragraph. Try to keep everything about the first paragraph, about this first picture. This is the second paragraph. This is the third paragraph. You're going to write 3 paragraphs this time. I know normally I don't assign that much, but this is more like a creative writing. So I think you're going to find that it's going to be a lot easier and you'll come up with stuff, easier than like Marco Polo stuff. Okay. You have any questions about the homework? You're good? All right, that's it for today. So you got your grammar. You're going to write your 3-paragraph story about this camel and Bernard or Leo. And I'm excited to find out what you come up with. All right, you guys, have a good day. I'll see you next week. Bye.